Welcome to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. Yesterday's video, we previewed the National League West. It was the final division. And baseball starts up tonight. It's Giants-Yankees at Giants Park. I forgot the name of it all of a sudden for some reason. Excuse me.
Oracle.
Thank you. I was blanking for a second. However, we still have some things to discuss because opening day is tomorrow. And there's a lot of discussions about certain players, certain teams. We did a lot of team talk. We haven't done too much player talk. And this is what that video is because, Owen, today we are going to break down the National League and the American League, our picks for these awards: MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year. And Owen, get us started here with your pick. And I think we all know who it's going to be for the National League Most Valuable Player.
Yeah, no clickbait stuff, no surprises. I got Shohei Ohtani. He's currently minus 145 to win it all. And we're going to be putting those odds for you. These are the odds of DraftKings, just in case you guys want to indulge in gambling. I love to gamble every single day of my life. Probably not the best hobby financially wise, but it's a fun thing to do. The thing about Shohei, man, is not only is he a top 3 hitter in the world, I think he's 2 every year. I think Judge is a better hitter in the sense, but Ohtani pitches, man. He genuinely pitches, and he pitches at an elite level. He pitched to a sub-3 ERA last year. Granted, was it in a short sample size? Absolutely. If he throws 5 innings with that bat, he's going to win the National League MVP, to where I just think it's a no-brainer. The only thing that would deteriorate that is health. And it does suck in the sense of, like, whatever league he's in, the MVP is kind of a foregone conclusion. Now, Aaron Judge did beat him out in 22 because he had a phenomenal season breaking the home run record. However, I still believe they got that wrong. If you're pitching and hitting like Ohtani, you're in the MVP. Ryan, I'm sure you have the same exact one.
I absolutely do. And, just looking at it, he's won the last 3 MVPs in the National League. He's won 4 in the last 5 years, essentially. He's going for his 4th in a row. We haven't seen dominance like this since Barry Bonds. The guy just hit 55 nukes last year. The season before, he created his own club with the 50-50 club.
Yeah.
This is easily the greatest baseball player of all time. And I do agree with you. I think that Judge can edge him out in certain levels when it comes to hitting. I think, obviously, Judge has better power. And honestly, I think Judge he's better at getting the ball down the line than Ohtani. He's not faster than Ohtani, but he's a good average hitter. Like, he can get the ball into the gaps and he can get it down the line when he needs to. When he's not hitting home runs, he's hitting singles. Go ahead.
I'm going to introduce a interesting point, and I think this might get some backlash. If I were the Dodgers, I would never let Ohtani pitch again because, one, they have all the money in the world for starting pitching depth. When did Ohtani really make a factor in the sense of pitching? It was against the Brewers in Game 3, to where he had the game of all games, right? They were beating the Brewers anyway. He struggled against the Phillies in Game 1, and if he was going to start Game 5, we would have lit him up. Now, granted, he did go 5, give up 3 to her. It's not terrible. But Game 7, he pitched, and he almost blew it. He gave up a 3-run home run to Bichette, didn't make it out of the 3rd. And if you look at the stats of when Ohtani pitches, he is a below-average hitter in those games. He was terrible against us in the National League Division Series, to where, and we saw what he did in 24 when he wasn't pitching, like the 50-50 season, to where I get it. It's the appeal. I'm sure when he signed that contract, there was something in the dotted line that said, no, 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 I'm doing both. I'm the generational talent. But if that's not in the dotted line, I would take away pitching from him. What do you think?
I don't hate it. I
Oh,
don't dislike it because we haven't seen Shohei win a Cy Young. So that's what we were told he was going to be. He was going to be an MVP caliber hitter, which he is,
uh-huh.
and he would be a Cy Young caliber pitcher, which we've seen him do in certain seasons when he was with the Angels more often than not, but he never got the Cy Young. So his value on the bat is much higher than it is pitching. And I feel like that would go for a lot of these guys because you're going to be really, really good, elite at one, and then above average at the other because you're going to practice one more than the other. You don't have enough time to get an hour and a half of BP and then go do like an hour and a half bullpen sesh where you're throwing 50%.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough on his body, so I can understand if they don't let him pitch anymore. We've seen it could take a toll on him because he's not the same pitcher. He's the same hitter, but he's
Yeah.
not the same pitcher. So I get what you're saying. I sincerely doubt that'll ever happen unless his elbow explodes or unless he gets severely injured. But outside of that, I think I think Ohtani on the mound makes more money than anything else in baseball. It makes more money than Ohtani at the bat because people want to see Shohei Ohtani as much as possible. And the
Yeah.
pitchers are on the field more often than not, obviously, because they're the one throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So having him on camera all the time instead of having to wait 2, 3 innings just to get him back up at the plate, people are going to stay around just to watch Shohei pitch. And then when he's done pitching, they get to watch him hit. So
Yeah.
they stay around.
I mean, it does help his brand, obviously, to where, like you said, I don't think they're going to switch it. I just think in the realistic sense of like what you want to get the best out of your players, especially like the organization, I would do it. But that's enough Shohei talk. We love him. Even though he's a Dodger, we think he's the greatest of all time. Now let's get into the NL Cy Young. You guys are going to think I'm biased. I got Christopher Sanchez, and I know how good Paul Skeens is.
I'm
And
proud of you, though. I'm proud of you. I thought you were going to say Wheeler was going to have a comeback season.
well, here's the thing. If he's fully healthy, like if he started the year fully healthy, he would have won the Cy Young, and he was probably going to finish top 5 last year. The problem is he won't be back till April, like towards the end of April, and they're probably going to slow walk him anyway. Skeens, Sanchez, I think they're both going to hit 200 innings. I think Luzardo's going to hit 200 innings. I got him finishing top 5 to where it's just not realistic with Wheeler. But Christopher Sanchez, everyone knows how good he is because he has turned into just a presence on the mound. The growth of Christopher Sanchez has been a joy to watch, from a flamethrower that had no idea where the ball was going to dropping his velocity so he can locate that and then getting it back up. And now he's throwing 98-mile-per-hour sinkers with the second best changeup in baseball. You could say Tarek Skubal. I don't know. I think Sanchez's sinker changeup combo is much better than Tarek Skubal's fastball changeup combo because Skubal's fastball, in a
Mm.
sense, doesn't have a lot of movement. It has a little bit of cut, but that sinker that Christopher Sanchez throws into the righties, away to the lefties is much better, in my opinion.
See, that's kind of why I like Skubal's fastball changeup combo because the sinker and the changeup, depending on how you throw it, they have the same break. They're just going faster. So I like the idea of Skubal changing the eye levels of having that fastball be right up here and then the changeup starting here and then it ending like here. So I
Yeah.
I agree with you that it's one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball, but I think Skubal has that edge, but that because it's my personal pitching preference.
Yeah, you can say that. My thing is also with like Skubal in the sense of if you're going up to hit against him, my game plan would be just sit the fastball, and when you're sitting the fastball against Skubal, it's right in the zone to where if he doesn't hit his spot perfectly, it's going to be a fucking easy home run to hit because it's right down the middle. Sanchez's sinker is like if he doesn't leave it up in the zone to where if you get a hit, it's going to be a single double down the line. Like Kike, when he put that double on him, it was on the sinker. So that's just differences of opinion. But going back on Christopher Sanchez, I just think he's going to put it all together. Now, Paul Skeens is so good to where it's like, it's kind of the comparison of like baseball today. Like you have a lot of great teams. You got the Phillies, you got the Blue Jays, you got the Yankees. You're not going to like that. But they got this juggernaut in the way of the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the best teams of all time. And I think that's kind of what Paul Skeens is going to be like for the National League going forward. I could see him rattling off 4 to 5, but I really think if it's a year for someone besides Paul Skeens to win it, I think it's this year with Christopher Sanchez and the Philadelphia Phillies. And
Now I don't hate it.
he's plus 800, which is free money.
Wait, are you serious? He's plus 800?
Dude, yeah. Well, Skeens is favored. I think he's plus 215. Plus 800 is crazy work.
Where's Yamamoto, if you know it?
Let me check. Pull up the DraftKings.
What?
Do-do.
So while you do that, I'll just say that I have Paul Skeens winning it, but we'll see
Yeah.
Yamamoto's odds in a second.
All right. Sportsbook, MLB, going to the futures. Come on. Awards. All right. Cy Young, National League. Paul Skeens is plus 210.
Okay.
Yamamoto is plus 650. I don't agree with the Yamamoto thing just because who he's pitching for, to where the Dodgers don't need him to throw 210 innings to get into the playoffs, to where I think innings pitched freaking matters, dude, especially when Zach Wheeler got absolutely robbed by Corbin Burns in 2021 when he had 50 more innings. That is unbelievable. So that's the odds. Chris Sale's plus 1400. I think that's a good bet in the
I
sense of
like that.
in the odds. Like plus $5 for a Chris Sale one would win you 75. So if he
It's a
stays healthy, he
good
could win
deal.
it again like he did in 24.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't think I love the idea of Chris Sanchez kind of like sneaking in and taking it. But it's like you said, Paul Skeens is just that good. Paul
Yeah.
Skeens is the Shohei Ohtani of pitching, which is weird to say, but that's kind of what he is.
He's the
And
best pitcher in baseball. It's not even close.
it's not even close. He's been in the league for 2 years and he's already the best pitcher in baseball. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that over Tarek Skubal. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
Well, I think his fastball is just so much better because
It is.
he can locate it much better. Like when you pitch up in the zone, obviously with Scooble's fastball, you can get away with it, but it leaves more room for error. Paul Skeens is dotting 99 on the corners. If you're dotting 89 on the corners, you're not touching that. To where Paul Skeens, the way he can maneuver his fastball, and then occasionally, if he wants to sneak one by you, he can. He changes the eye level much better with not only his fastball off-speed pitches, but his fastball at times. So that's why I would take Paul Skeens over. I just don't think he's ever hittable.
And my thing about Paul Skeens is like my favorite thing about him is that he's the prototypical definition of wins don't matter if you're a pitcher
Yeah.
because he went 10-10. He had a 1.97 ERA. He threw 216 strikeouts in less than 190 innings. And here's my favorite stat. This is how you can tell how I love my pitchers. My favorite stat of Paul Skeens: 0.94 WHIP
Yeah.
on the season.
Yeah. That's
That's why
unbelievable.
he's winning it again. Back-to-back Cy Youngs, just like Skubal did it. When we get into the American League, we'll talk about my Cy Young there. But yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Skeens back-to-back. Book it right now.
And back on your point of pitching like wins and losses, genuinely the most what's the word, meaningless stat for a pitcher because they literally can't control what happens. They can't control the lineup. They can't control what the bullpen does. They can't control the quality of the lineup that's giving them the run support. Jacob deGrom back in what, 18-19 was like 9-9.
And that's my thing about it too, because let's say hypothetically they leave a runner on and it's a tie ball game, and then the reliever comes in and gives up that run. That run doesn't get counted to the reliever. That run gets counted to the pitcher who put him on, which is that starter, and then they get that loss, even though jackass hung a slider in the middle of the zone. You lost the game now
Yeah.
because he threw that pitch.
That's why great pitchers never want to come out when there's runners on base. Like, let me get out of this jam. Granted, if you're at like 110, get out of there for your safety. But that's just an interesting thing. We should do a whole video on what really determines the pitcher. When you mentioned whip, I'm like, this guy gets it. So that was a good call. Now, National League Rookie of the Year.
I
Again,
already know what you're picking. I already know who you're picking.
dude, do you think it's Andrew Painter?
No, I think you're going Justin Crawford.
No, I'm going Andrew Painter because the odds are plus 3,000. Andrew Painter is going to pitch a full big league season, barring health and barring his production. He had a 2.31 ERA in spring training. And I saw all the nerds talking about the fastball shape. I understand the fastball shape was not what it was pre Tommy John, but I think he can get back to that. But also, I think he's going to have an opportunity that he's never had in his career working under Caleb Cotham for a full year. Caleb Cotham rejuvenated Chris Sanchez's career, rejuvenated Jesus Luzardo from the trade, took Zach Wheeler to heights no one's ever seen before when he came to the Mets, to where I think he's just going to teach Andrew Painter how to pitch. And then I think it's going to come to a culmination in the summer to where not only does he know how to pitch, not saying he doesn't know how to pitch, but when you're a fireballer, you kind of can get away with stuff to where you don't have to really dive in like a slow baller. I think Caleb Combs is going to teach him how to pitch. And then I think that arm by summertime is going to get back to his 2022 form. And I just think, man, pitchers are probably more favored to win the National League Rookie of the Year compared to hitters because hitters you're playing every day. It's so like iffy in the sense if they can keep the production for the entire year. And this is probably me and my gambling like psychopath odds that is plus 3,000. I mean, that's unbelievable. So I got Andrew Painter.
Yeah, so I probably got with my odds for the Rookie of the Year here, probably the second or third highest option there, and that's going to be J.J. Weatherholt of the St. Louis Cardinals.
He made the opening day roster.
Yes, he did. And now, if you look at his numbers from the minors, which I have right here, he split time between AAA and AA. He spent a little bit more time in AA than he did AAA, but these are the combined numbers when you add them together and condense it. So, in the whole 2025 season, going from AA and AAA, he hit 306. He had a 425 on base and a 466 slugging. So, if you do the math, that's an 892 OPS, and he had 17 nukes as a shortstop. We don't see a lot of home runs from shortstops. That's one of those positions that lacks the pop that people expect. Like if Tatis stayed there, he would have averaged 40 home runs a year, but he's in right field now. That makes
Yeah.
more sense. Power guys are in the outfield. But a guy like JJ Weatherholt can't he's not going to be defensively leveled like Ozzy Albies or not Ozzy Smith, excuse me, but I'm thinking current day. Pardon me everybody.
Yeah.
But basically my thing about JJ Weatherholt is that the Cardinals always come up with that one young stud. It was supposed to be Jordan Walker. It wasn't Jordan Walker. It was Oscar Taveras. May he rest in peace. And
Legend.
now they have another chance to do it right here with JJ Weatherholt. I think that this kid is the best shortstop prospect in baseball. I don't care about Connor Griffin. The Pirates didn't even let him make the opening day roster, I don't think. 1 second. And I don't care about Kevin McGoggle being over there in Detroit because I think there's a logjam at shortstop anyway because they don't know what they're going to do with Javi Baez. But go ahead.
Is JJ playing second? Because they got Win, right?
Oh, yeah, they do have Mason Wynn. He might play second.
Gotcha.
So either
Either
way,
way, I think he is in a perfect situation for a rookie year. The Cardinals aren't trying to compete to where he can just kind of get his feet wet. Granted, we thought that was the same situation with Jordan Walker in 2023, and they drove his career into the ground. But
it makes me so sad thinking about Jordan Walker, dude. We
it's
like we talked about it in the NL Central video a little bit, but it breaks my heart the what happened to Jordan Walker.
dude, because he had like a really good stretch, like his only good stretch in the big league career, and they sent him down. And then the next year he struggled and they sent him right back down. Like they gave him a short hook when they weren't competing in any other year to where it's just like it's organizational malpractice. Like that's why, like with the Phillies, like I think Painter and Crawford have a much tougher situations than some rookies like JJ because they're expected to contribute to a championship level team. And it's like that's unfair expectations, but that's the cards they're dealt. To where if you can't build up a prospect when you're not winning at all, like that's unbelievable. Now, if you give them every single opportunity and they just fail, that's on the prospect. That's not on them. So, but I like that pick for JJ. You got anything else on him?
Other than that, if Mason Wynn doesn't work out offensively, I don't see a world where JJ doesn't take over that shortstop role in general. I know Mason Wynn's probably a better defender than JJ Weatherholt,
Yeah.
but if you want JJ to be the captain, then he needs to play where he belongs. If Jeter can kick Rodriguez out of shortstop, and we all knew A-Rod was a better defensive shortstop than Jeter was,
Yeah.
then Weatherholt should be able to go to Win and be like, "Hey, bro, fuck off."
You're good. Get out of here. Now let's get into NL Manager of the Year because this is a regular season award. I wish they would bring it into the postseason because, like, genuinely, managers matter in the postseason. Are the players the end all be all? Yes. But what Rob Thompson did last October was general malpractice, which is going to be insane for you guys to think when I tell you I think Rob Thompson is going to win Manager of the Year
Oh my god.
because I just think it's a regular season award. This is the best Phillies team out of this era. I truly believe that. I think the pitching and the bullpen sets them apart from years past to start the year. And then Pat Murphy has won back to back, right? I think he could have a 100-win season. They're not going to give it to him again. It's just voter fatigue. And who else are you going to give it to? Like, unless a team that's on the middle pack becomes like a 95, 96 win team, I
It's
just
kind of what I
think,
got.
huh?
That's kind of what I got with my guy, but continue with Topper.
Yeah, and it's like the best team in baseball is David Roberts, like manager sense. Like he has the best team to where he could win 100 games. I don't think he's going to win the award to where I just think Topper's in a prime position. And I've heard all this stuff about, is Topper going to be on the hot seat with Don Mattingly right by his side? That's not happening because here's the thing. Don Mattingly, one, doesn't want to manage. He said that before. Don Mattingly and Rob Thompson have a very close relationship to where I think Don Mattingly would not take that job from him because it's like kind of looking over your shoulder the entire time. And the only way Rob Thompson would lose his job during the season is if the Phillies started off terrible, like 20-30, right? The first 40 games of the year, you know how many playoff teams we faced, Ryan? That made it last year? One. Unbelievable. To where it's like things would have to go completely awry. And I really think this is the best Phillies team we have. And he is currently plus 2,200 to win National League Manager of the Year, which I think is also a crazy line to take. So I'll be betting that.
That's not a horrible line. I mean, I understand why it's low. It is a regular season award, and we've talked a couple times on the podcast how Topper's a really good regular season manager,
Very good.
but so is this guy. And like you were saying, the middle of the pack guys that might burst out of nowhere and get that 90 wins. This one might be slightly biased because I have history with this guy. And I know we said in the Central video that we don't expect this team to make the playoffs. However,
Oh boy.
it's not the Pirates, I'm telling you now.
Okay.
It's this is a team with a lot of electric young guys that could heat up at the right time and get to a 92, 93 win season, and they have the best manager in the world to do it, and that's why Terry Francona is going to win the National League Manager of the Year for the Cincinnati Reds.
I don't hate it.
I think, well, again, that might just be like I have a lot of history with Tito. He was one of the best managers in Red Sox history, if not the best manager in Red Sox history. Again, that might just be my rings bias there. John Farrell won us one, but we don't gotta talk about that.
Don't
He
even
uh,
worry.
he knows how to manage a ball club. He knows how to get what he needs to get out of the young guys. He even had a guy like Trevor Bauer respecting him, and Trevor Bauer's a piece of shit. So he had Trevor Bauer listening to him, and that says a lot about it when he was over in Cleveland when they were still the Indians.
Yeah.
And he has a track record of just being an overall lovely guy. He beat cancer a couple of times. He's one of the most underrated managers historically wise, in my opinion. He doesn't get talked about with some of the guys at the top that I think. I think he belongs in conversation with guys like Bobby Cox. But Terry Francona has 3 to 4 more seasons left in baseball, probably. He's getting up there. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of his last years in baseball. Why not let this be the year Ellie puts it all together, Noel V. Marte puts it all together, Chase Burns and Hunter Green become the best 1-2 punch in the National League, and the Reds surprise everybody, win the Central, and Tito gets a Manager of the Year.
I like it because it's also like he has the most in the sense of like the managers, like how much he can have an influence on that team winning because Hunter Green's not going to start the year. He has bone chips in his arm. That's a heavy blow. The bullpen's always iffy. The lineup is got a lot of guys. You got Matt McClain, you got Ellie De La Cruz, like, but are they going to put it together to where if he takes them to 90 wins, he'll clearly get the manager of the year. I think he finished top 3 last year because he brought him to the playoffs. Granted, 83 wins, the third wild card, one of the worst playoff teams ever.
The
Not
Mets should have
Terry's
made it.
fault. Huh?
The Mets should have made it. Like I
That
don't,
on
like they meted so hard last year.
it was like it was just so unbelievable. That was such a great sight to see. I think they'll do it again. Actually not. I got them going to the NLCS against the Phillies, which would be amazing. But let's get into the American League. MVP. I don't know if you're going to agree. I don't think you're going to like who I got, even if you do agree. I think it's going to be Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, man, March through September, the best player you'll ever see. What's he going to do in October? Nothing. What's he going to do in the WBC? Nothing. I think Aaron Judge is a great guy. I think he's a great ambassador for the game of baseball. He does a lot with charity in New York. There's nothing against the person. There's just certain guys that shrink when it matters most. I saw one video, I think this is just like not true, but they were like, they could see his body kind of tense up. I don't think you can see that on camera, but the fact that that's even a thought is unbelievable. And you can see like the way to attack Judge is attack him aggressively in the postseason because it's like he's always gets shocked. Like obviously in the regular season they're going to pitch around him, and he just thinks the switch isn't going to go off. But teams know he's timid at the plate, and then you get him in an 0-2 spot. What pitch are you throwing him? Slider away, and he's going to either take it if it's a strike, unbelievable, and he's going to swing if it's a ball. So Aaron Judge, it's unfortunate because you want your star players in the game to perform in the playoffs because it helps the market. But I'll tell you what, in the regular season, man, I think he's going to hit 60 homers. I think he's going to bat 340. I think he's going to bat 1,100. I think he's going to take his struggles because he hit well in the WBC, not when it mattered. The counting stats were there. I think he's going to be motivated. But then it's almost going to put more pressure on him in October if he puts up these kind of stats and wins the MVP, because then no matter what, it's a lose-lose. If you struggle, you're going to get criticized for struggling. If you have a fantastic year, the thing is like, we'll do it when it matters. And then it just amplifies everything to where it's like, it's a weird situation, but I got him winning MVP and he's plus 215.
I don't hate it because it's Aaron Judge. I can't deny greatness. That's just one of those things. I can hate the player as much as I want. I can't deny greatness. Aaron Judge is one of the greatest hitters we'll ever see. He's the greatest power hitter to ever touch a baseball field because
Well,
he's doing
very.
everything. the best clean power hitter of all time.
True. Yeah.
But, it took every ounce of me to not put Roman Anthony at my American League
I like
MVP.
Roman Anthony. I think that's
I
a
thought
sneaky
about it.
pick.
I thought about it, but I went a little bit more logical here,
You took
and
odds.
I didn't go Judge because I refused to give a Yankee credit, but I went ahead and selected uh, Bobby Witt Jr. from the Kansas City Royals.
I was with you when we had our original awards thing, I think earlier in the offseason. I don't know, man. I don't know if that bat's ever going to be like MVP level.
Well, that's the thing. He was only one vote off of MVP last season, I believe, with Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And he had 38 steals, 23 nukes, and 851 OPS. He hit 295, so it's not like he can't hit. The glove is absolutely undeniable, and we already know about, I already mentioned the steals, but he's a damn speed demon. Bobby Wood Jr. is what the poster boy of the MLB should be. He plays the glory position, and he plays it well, and he hits well from that same glory position. If Bobby Witt Jr. can put an entire season together where he can hit like he's supposed to, he can have a 30 home run season, close to 40 home run season. And if he can pull that off this year, he's gonna win the MVP. I totally understand why you have Judge winning the MVP because it just seems like a no-brainer. The same way how Ohtani winning the MVP seems like a no-brainer. But there's always those one-off years. The same way how Judge beat Ohtani for the MVP that year. The same way how Altuve beat Judge for the MVP during that rookie
That's
season.
unbelievable.
But yeah, that's where I am right now. I think Bobby Witt is going to stick the flag firmly in his poster boy of baseball monument that he has. He's going to eclipse Tatis as poster boy. He's going to eclipse Judge as poster boy. Bobby Witt Jr. will be Captain America come next WBC.
He's second in odds. He's plus 500, and your boy Roman is plus 1,400.
Take that bet right now. Take it right now. Put $20 on it.
I got a better one for you. Gunnar Henderson is plus 1,500.
Put $50 on that.
Put $1,000 on it. Screw it.
Got 1,000.
Let's get into the AL Cy Young. So this guy I don't like anymore. I think he's a sellout for his country. I think he made it about him. Unbelievable. But Tarek Skubal's going to win the American League Cy Young Award. I'm pretty sure you're going to go Crochet, and I do not deny that. Crochet's a dog. I just think it's going to line up with his free agency year. It just feels like something like a Boris client would do. Kind of what Soto did for the 2024 Yankees, to where I just think he's going to lock in. I think he's going to have 215 innings pitched, 2.25 ERA. I know postseason stats don't come into the awards, but I think he's going to have a really good postseason. That's going to lend into his contract. Tarek Skubal is one of the best postseason pitchers, or the best pitchers in baseball. It's funny because he's very good in the postseason, but he doesn't win. The offense kind of lets him down. Granted, he got lit up in Game 5 of the 2024 American League Division Series. Let's talk about it. But he's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think just the year before free agency, he's going to lock in, and he's going to have an unbelievable year. And he's plus 350, to where it's like,
Is that the favorite?
Yeah, betting favorite. I think Crochet's second.
Yeah, but I mean, you are absolutely right. I do have Garrett Crochet topping Tarek Skubal this year and winning the Cy Young. I know it's contract year, and everybody in a contract year just decides to go absolutely ballistic. How it could be, it could be. However, this might be controversial to say, but I think Skubal robbed Crochet last year of the Cy Young. Because 18-5 record, I know I said record doesn't matter, but still that counts for something. 2.59 ERA, led the American League in Ks with 255, and he pitched over 200 innings, 205 and a third. And that means, look at that, 250 Ks and 205 innings. That's a ridiculous amount of Ks, and we know the voters love to strike out. If they value the whip, it was ever so slightly over 1. It was like a 1.02. But it's a great. Garrett Crochet is my bias here is going to take over. You're going to disagree with me when I say this. He is the best lefty in baseball. He showed it last year, and the only reason that Tarek Skubal won the American League Cy Young was because the MLB wanted the story of a back-to-back for most of the awards. Aaron Judge got it back-to-back. Tarek Skubal got it back-to-back. Shohei Ohtani got it back-to-back. So they wanted to keep that storyline up. They wanted to have the multiples. That's the only reason Tarek Skubal won the Cy Young last year. And Garrett Crochet is going to come out this year and say, fuck you to all the voters. The War Pig will not lose a decision until
The
his
war pig is
13th
hilarious.
start in the season this year. I'm stuttering now because I'm so excited for Garrett Crochet. Book that shit. If he gets shelled in Cincinnati, I'm going to cry.
He won't. It's just insane that we could have had. It's funny because it's like we were in talks with the White Sox in
Yes, you were.
2024. Granted, if we get Crochet, we probably don't get Luzardo. But I think what was holding it up was Aiden Miller. Love me some Aiden Miller. That back is going to crack. Like, genuinely, he has some severe back problems. You know what the report about Aiden Miller was? He's tossing a ball lightly around. He's moving around. We just don't want it to flare up. He's 21 years old, dude. Like, come on, dude. It's always with the Phillies. But on Garrett Crochet's point, one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball. What he did in that wild card game was unbelievable. To where if you get a full postseason run out of Garrett Crochet leading a rotation, he can win series for you. Like that's why people need to realize pitching in the postseason matters. Because if you have a guy like an ace in the division series, he can pitch 2 games for you, game 1 and game 5, or game 1 and game 4. Depends how it lines up with the schedule. And then in the CS, you could do 1, 5, 7. Or if people get their head out of their ass, but they don't do anymore, is do what they did in like the early 2000s. Game 1, game 4, game 7. You can pitch on 3 days rest. Thank you. Zach Wheeler. Now, granted, this is insane because in the 2024 National League Division Series, I was glamoring for him to start game 4. Ranger ended up pitching 5 scoreless to where it didn't really matter. We only scored 1 run. But I just think if they would have put Zach Wheeler in game 4, that just like would have put fear into the Mets' eyes because it was their closeout game. The pressure was on them. And then the Phillies offense would have catch a little bit of a break, a little bit of the pressure taken off of them. But that's just me. I like Garrett Crochet. I think it's going to be very close. I just think, like you said, with the back-to-back, I think they're going to want to give a 3-time one. I think that has some like glory to it in the sense and with this free agency year, but it's going to be, they're 1 and 2 in the odds. And then AL Rookie of the Year. I think you'll appreciate this. Murakami. Murakami. I'm just going to call him by his last name.
Munetaka Murakami.
Thank you. I just think with his spring training results, and I don't even know the stats, but I know when I saw him hit the ball, he hit him like a freaking animal, like 100 miles per hour off the bat. And I think with the contract, I think he has something to prove because we thought he was going to go in the season as one of the best like free agents, like money wise. He was going to get a 5-6 year deal. Obviously, that didn't happen, but I think the talent's there. I think the talent's real. Back to your point about JJ in the sense of like Rookie of the Year settling into a situation where the pressure's off. I think Murakami's in the same spot in Chicago. They're not competing for the playoffs. He's going to bring that Japanese market to him to where he's essentially going to be the Chicago White Sox. And I think he's going to have a great year and think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. And his odds are plus 900 to where it's like, I see that. I'm like, easy money, in my opinion.
So he's not the favorite. I assume it's the guy from the Tigers, Kevin McGonigal, whatever his name is, would be the
Let me
favorite.
check. Rookie of the Year. Yeah, Kevin McGonigal was plus 380, Carter Jensen 550, and then
Carter Jensen, really?
yeah,
Is he in Texas or did I make that up?
I don't know actually, to be honest.
All right, I'm a casual apparently. Baseball for casuals, everybody.
Baseball for
but
all.
but my AL Rookie of the Year, it was hard for me to pick this one because he's in my division, but I think he's going to get a lot of split at bats this year. They're going to platoon this position because this guy's coming up, and Samuel Basallo is going to break out and be the American League Rookie of the Year.
That power's real. Yeah.
Absolutely, the power is real because, again, he kind of did the same thing that Weatherholt did. He jumped around the minors last year, but he had 23 nukes in the games that he had in the minors, a 966 OPS. So if you don't want to do the math, it's a 377 on base and a 589 slugging. And he hit 270 to go along with it. Now, I get that the sample size that we saw when he came up was not spectacular. But who is the one guy that I keep bringing up every single time I talk about sample sizes? Judge. His sample size was dog shit. And then he came back up the next year and won Rookie of the Year. So we need to get all that bullshit out of here because Samuel Basallo, the power is real. He could have multiple 500-foot home runs in a season.
Yeah.
Book it. He could be a starting catcher on most teams in baseball right now. The only problem is he's sitting behind a former number 1 overall pick in Adley Rutschman.
I think that helps him in the sense of his batting because when Basayo came up last year and they gave him that extension, everyone thought, oh, Adley's on the trade market. Why? Because you can have two really good catchers in the sense like you can get your most bang for your buck out of those guys to where I think him maybe catching 80, 90 games, the rest either could be at DH or first base is going to lend to him having more success on the offensive side because it is a damn process being a major league catcher. Why can no catchers hit? It's because they have such a workload. They got to know the pitchers, they got to know the bullpen, they got to know the team, they're the captain, to where hitting is secondary. To where if Adley's taking some of the time and Basayo's taking some of the time, I think that lends into him kind of just being more free at the plate.
Yeah, and even then, Basayo's probably going to get a lot of DH opportunities if Adley's going to be catching more often than not. And it is Adley's contract year, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't.
So
Is it?
I think it is. It's either this year or next year. I don't
I
really
think he has
remember.
2 more years, but I could be
Either
wrong.
way, he's close. And
Yeah.
if Basayo does perform like he's supposed to, Adley ends up right back on the trade market, the supposed trade market. So, because I don't
Or
think
if you want to get exciting, if they're both playing well and you really have a need, trade major league players for major league players. Why don't we see any major league trades for major league trades anymore? Get creative, make a move, and get more bang for your buck.
I have an answer for you on that.
Yeah.
And it's all based on projection and emotion.
Yeah.
That's all it is. All these prospect hypes, none of it matters. The 96th ranked prospect in baseball right now, I don't know if it's a pitcher or if it's a hitter, they could be a Cy Young or an MVP caliber guy.
Yeah.
It
I hate
it
that.
doesn't matter where
No.
they're ranked sometimes. Some guys are unranked, they come up and they become the best players on their team. It just happens. That's how baseball is sometimes. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work hard. You can be the most talented guy on the planet, but if you're not the first guy on the field and the last guy out of the cage at the end of everything, you're not going to get the success that you're supposed to have. Your talent can only get you so far. Your hard work gets you everywhere. And that's why I don't like the rankings of prospects and stuff like that. It's all emotional. There's no thought process behind it. It's all projection. Most of the time it works out, but again, when it doesn't work out, it doesn't work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you can just see people that just get completely overwhelmed, and it's like, wow, how was he ever ranked this high? But I like Samuel Basallo. I think he's gonna have a great year. I think he's plus 1,400 to where it's like, I think
That's a
that's great.
great bet.
Yeah, but let's get into the manager of the year because I know you're gonna hate this, and it's very similar about Rob Thompson because I think the Phillies and the Yankees are essentially the same team in the different leagues. I think they have a very good regular season team, but they haven't got it done in October. Aaron Boone with this Yankees team, because I think this Yankees team is going to be really good. I think they're going to win upwards of 95 games, win the division, maybe get a bye, maybe not. I think Aaron Boone is going to win AL Manager of the Year because Yankees fans hate him. It would be so poetic, like that he just gets Manager of the Year, and I don't think that saves his job because I think the Yankees' success will be predicated on what they do in October, similar to Rob Thompson. I could see a scenario which is unbelievably insane where both of them win Manager of the Year and they both don't get their job back because they're both at the point in the franchise to where it's like do whatever you want in the regular season. You don't have to prove us anything March through September. What you do have to prove is October. I might be crazy. It's plus 2,200, but I got Booney winning American League Manager of the Year.
I don't hate it, but it's simple to kind of pick manager of the year in certain aspects because you could have gone nationally. You could have said Craig Counsell because the Cubs are supposed to be really good. In the American League, it's a little bit more niche because
Mhm.
AJ Hinch is probably one of the favorites to win it with the Tigers. Uh, but I think that the guy that's going to do it because he has the team that's built to do it is the guy who's managing the AL Rookie of the Year this year. And let me get his name again real quick because I totally forgot it. The Orioles manager, Craig Albernaz. He's got the team to do it. He just brought in Pete Alonso, so he's got some guy who can lead the young guys in the locker room. He still has Adley Rutschman and Samuel Basayo, like I just mentioned. They added Taylor Ward into that outfield, which is another veteran presence that could really, really help an outfield that was trying to find an identity.
Yeah.
And they had one of the best pitchers in baseball last year and is one of the most brutally disrespected men in all of baseball who
Yeah.
could win the Cy Young.
He could.
Like like I could totally see a world where Rodgers ends up again in top 5 or even top 3 Cy Young votes. He's got the potential to do it, and the team is back. You know, whatever the wrong guy got fired. Brendan Hyde should not have
Yeah.
been fired. But
The
with
GM
that
coulda
being
got fired. It was the GM that had no starting pitching, and then you are out of the race by May because they played pretty well after they fired the manager, and it looks like it's Brandon Hyde's fault, but nah, dude, like, you're completely right. He was a scapegoat.
And most managers are, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's like I love guys like Bob Melvin because he would be on consistently bad teams, but he's such a good manager that he could just stay there and make them have at least 75 plus wins.
Yeah.
But but back on what I'm saying about Baltimore, that team is back. That team had one of the weirdest down years I've ever seen from a major league ball club. There wasn't really any injuries. There wasn't really a bunch of miscues. It was just bad baseball at the start. And
Yeah.
when they figured it out, it was just a little too late. I
Yeah.
truly do believe that the Orioles are a top 10 team in the American League, but it's
Of
crazy
course.
because 4 of the top 10 American League teams are in the AL East. But even with that said, with that type of competition and how close the American League East is usually, the Orioles could sneak in and take a spot away from the Red Sox or the Yankees or even the Blue Jays. Like I could totally see them exploding, having 95 plus wins, and then your American League Manager of the Year, rightfully deserved, with a team that was gifted to him by the gods, Craig Albernaz.
I could see that, and I think the AL East is just gonna be such a juggernaut to where any 4 of those teams can miss the playoffs, and any 4 of those teams can make the playoffs. Now, I guess there's a scenario where all 4 can get in because one wins the division and the other 3 are wild cards. That'd be pretty cool. But
That would make baseball fans so mad.
but it's
Like that
like
would piss off so many people.
but it's also like we've seen division winners that don't deserve to get in just because of, like, their geographical alignment, which
Yeah.
I enjoy that kinda sense, like AL Central, AL West, AL East, like, you can kinda hone in on your rivalries, kinda hone in on your location, but it does suck when you have 84 win team out of a division, and then you were the Toronto Blue Jays, I believe, in 2023 or 4 when they had 90 wins and they didn't get in. So but then again, the wild card, like you have so many chances to get in, so don't cry wolf. But that'll do it for the sense of our baseball predictions for the awards. Let us know what you guys think. Get your parlays in because this is not the last chance because you can always bet like live, but there's nothing better than what I do on opening day in the morning. It's just lock in on not only my parlays for the day, but my parlays for the season. There's so many things you could do. You could see if Alec Bowman is going to bat over 280. I think he will. Over 20 homers is
Eh,
like plus 310. I think he will, contract year. But it's very fun time. Like tomorrow, well, tonight's opening day. But essentially tomorrow is most of the team. So I'm very excited. Ryan, I'm sure you're just as excited.
I cannot wait to see the Red Sox take the field tomorrow. I'm actually looking up Willie Abreu's home run on the season odds because whatever it is, you should take the over on what it is. It's
Yeah.
projected to be 22 homers. So take the
Oh
over.
my gosh.
Take the over on Willie Abreu because if he can stay healthy, he's going to be the best power hitter on the Red Sox. And that includes a lineup with Wilson Contreras and Roman Anthony. But like Owen said, do you actually think that Roman Anthony is going to win the AL MVP? Am I crazy for thinking that Crochet is the best lefty in baseball? Is Owen crazy for having 2 of the most mid managers in the world winning the NL and AL Manager of the Years? Am I dead wrong about JJ Weatherholt? Am I dead wrong about Samuel Basayo? Is Owen dead wrong about Andrew Painter? Tell us in the comments. But leave a like, subscribe, and Owen, let's enjoy some baseball tonight, brother. Let's go Giants, but let's enjoy some baseball tonight.
Let's go. You have a good one, buddy.
You too, brother.